All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick off tonight. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna get some background music turned on as we get started here. We're live on Pantheon Radio, so thanks everybody for tuning in there. We're also live on Twitch, so thanks everybody for showing up and hanging out on Twitch. Love having everybody hang out with me on Twitch. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. So tonight we're riding solo once again. But I just want to go ahead and start out tonight by saying thank y'all so much for the support and love that y'all have shown Maul and his family. It's been quite a tremendous showing of the Pantheon community and just how great everybody is. So I really appreciate that. You know, he went through some really tough times here recently. Still, you know, going through that, but it's you know, he's looking up, and it's just really cool to see how the community came together to help him out in a time of need. So really appreciate that. Excited to get Maul back in here and hanging out with us, you know, here in the future. So we'll definitely look forward to that day. But until then, I'll try to continue forward with the podcast and see what we can do to make sure that we pass all the information out there about Pantheon that we can. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, first and foremost, again, guys, if you haven't already checked out Pantheon Radio, make sure you do. PantheonRadio.com. They've still got the competition going on till March 30th. So if you haven't heard of the competition yet, make sure that you go out to Pantheon Radio and check out their competition for the script. Let me go ahead and play a little demo. So what they're doing here is a spoof commercial. And I got to tell you, these guys, I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. I'll continue to say it because they continue to do such a great job. Check out their competition for... Oh, hey, there's me. Sorry, I pulled up PantheonRadio.com to check out the compo section, and I wanted to play you a little Monk spoof commercial. So let me do that real quick for you. Listen up, guys. Check this out. This is what it's going to sound like when you submit your spoof commercial and it comes up to the radio live. This is how they do things. Professional quality. It blows my blows my socks off every time I hear it. So here you go, guys.
Are you being deliberately mowed down by trains of bandits and skellies? Don't know what to do? Then why not roll a monk and learn the arts Kung Fu? At the Monk's Monastery in Wild's End, we will teach you how to feign death in a dignified manner. You'll have mobs so fooled, they'll run straight past you. Monks, we know Kung Fu.
I love it. I really do. So again, got an Echo Dot up there, a heat changing mug, and again, you just get to contribute back to the community by submitting that spoof commercial. So it's a really cool thing. I personally think that everyone should at least give it a shot. You know, what do you got to lose? So check that out, guys. Continue to support Pantheon Radio. They're doing great things for the community, getting that music out there, promoting some of those content creators. Really excited about what they're doing and continuing to see what they're where they go from here. Other than that, as far as content creators go, just so everyone knows, I've got a few that I follow myself, and I try to find a new one every day. So if you're a content creator out there and you would like me to follow your content about Pantheon, if you're trying to promote Pantheon, you're trying to do some theory crafting, you're trying to do some streams, some podcasts yourself, things like that, and you want me to know about them so I can let everybody else know about them, please hit me up on Twitter. That's at Saicred TV, and that's SAICRED TV. So hit me up there, or hit me up on my Twitch stream, you know, /Saicred, again, spelled with the I in there. Hit me up on Discord, wherever you can find me. Find me on the forums, and let me know what I should be looking at, where I should be going to find new content, because I love promoting people's content. And on that note, had some great content over the last week or so. Had Monster Koala dropping another video on lore. So if you haven't seen Monster Koala, I'll make sure I'll link in the description on the YouTube when I post this video up afterwards. I'll give you a link for Monster Koala. I'll also give you a link for Az. So Az is another guy that I've been talking to lately, and I'm excited to get him on here one night. I think he's doing some really cool things within Pantheon as far as like content goes. Very short, very sweet videos, but always good. I released another one here recently about the Rogue. Good stuff. Really enjoyed it. He's got some lore videos out there as well. I really think you should go check these guys out. So that's at Az TV, and then you have Monster Koala. Again, I'll make sure I link these in the description on YouTube as soon as we get done here. That way, everyone gets a chance to go experience and meet some of these guys as well. I mean, there's just a lot of great content creators out there. So I'm happy. I am very happy to promote these guys, and I'm hoping to promote more as we go forward. On that note, we also have VOT doing their thing. So this Friday night, I believe it's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as normal. They're going to be streaming live on Twitch as well, doing their podcast with some theory crafting on the Dire Lord and subclasses. If you didn't see, oh, Lex, I see you in the chat, buddy. I got you. Don't you worry. Yeah. Well, if you didn't see last week's, I believe last week was on the Wizard, and I got the chance to drop by there for a second. Great stuff. I loved it myself. They go into some detail, some theory crafting. They always do their homework, come prepared with some notes. Love what they're doing. So if you haven't already, I don't know why you're here if you don't know about Voice of Terminus, but go check out VOT. Those guys are just doing things, big over there, and I'll continue to promote them, and I'll provide a link as well in the description on YouTube for this video for the Voice of Terminus and those guys, as we move forward. So what else do we got? Oh yeah, this Friday night. So if anyone didn't know, another announcement, because we got so many, I love it. Another announcement this Friday night, Baz himself is going to be joining us on the podcast. So from 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel live, we're going to be myself and Baz Grimm talking about Pantheon, what's upcoming, what to look forward to. All the good juicy details that you've always wanted are going to be, flying around. It's going to be a good time. We've got, so I think he's got a few announcements he wants to make himself. So I'll make sure that I give him the opportunity to do that. But I've got a few things as well that I've read or come across that I want to make sure that we talk about tonight for the upcoming PAX East trip. So I'll make sure that we give Baz his spotlight and allow him to be able to tell us what he's got in store for the PAX East trip, because I know he's got some really cool stuff in store. But there is some other information out there floating around, and I'm thinking Baz will be involved at some point in some of this. So I'm excited to see where he falls in. I mean, the guy was the first ever fan to play Pantheon, for crying out loud. Of course he's going to be in there somewhere. But I'm excited to see what Baz brings from PAX East. But as far as PAX East goes, I was moseying around on the forums, and I came across a few things. And one of the things was I was posting on a forum post about where Joppa in one of the streams had made this comment. It was kind of one of these, off the wall. They caught him off guard. He just kind of made a comment, didn't think too much about it, but people really took it to heart. So he jumped into a forum and made a post, but he made a comment about the Shaman class in Pantheon. And he talked about how the bards of EverQuest were a little bit of an inspiration in some of the things that he thought through when he was, looking into the creation of a shaman in Pantheon, and, the direction he was taking the shaman, and yada, yada, yada. And basically what he came onto the forums and he said, guys, I don't read too much into it. It was one of those comments where I said it, and I didn't think of it would go this far, but don't read too much into it. He's basically saying at the end of that comment, he said the shaman in his mind is the master of overtimes. When you think of dots, when you think of hots, things like that, the master of overtimes. So he's going to hopefully be able to explain more, because in the forums, and this is what he gave us here for the post, he said, and I quote, "I'm planning on giving some good information on classes at PAX East. Hopefully when I talk about Shaman, it will help clarify the distracted and relatively unhelpful explanation I gave in that stream." And he told me thanks for taking a stab at it when I tried to kind of explain what he was telling people. And then he said, "Yes, bards have been an inspiration for me in the Shaman class design, and I'll do a better job of explaining how next time." So looking forward to maybe hearing a little bit more about that. So we'll continue to keep our eyes and ears open, and I just want to read that first part of that as well. I'm planning on giving some good info on classes at PAX East. So that's from Joppa himself, guys. We'll continue to keep our ear to the ground, find out what we can. Hopefully, maybe get some hints as to what that means, or we'll just have to wait. It's only a week and a half away, so it's not like we got to wait an eternity. But I know for some of you, just like me, you're always itching to have a little more information, especially when it comes to the classes in Pantheon. So we'll keep an eye on that one and make sure that as soon as we hear something, you all hear it just as well. And then on that note, also had a tweet go out, and I'll just read the tweet and then I'll tell you who it's from because, yeah, anyways. So the tweet, wrapping up some NPC work in the new dungeon we're going to show. I can't wait. I can't wait for you all to get in and see it. Place looks amazing. So Convo tweeted that out a few days ago, and I have been just scavenging the forums for days now, trying to figure out what this new dungeon is. But we already knew that we were going to be potentially looking at a new zone that was, from the newsletter, that were going to show us a new zone come PAX East. It appears that might be a dungeon. I'm just speculating here. We have no concrete evidence, but I'm just digging through the facts, pulling things, here and there as I can, guys. And based off what I can read here from this tweet, I'm going to speculate that potentially we see a new dungeon in PAX East. So I don't know about you guys, but I've got potential information on classes and a potentially new dungeon showing up. Yeah, count me in. I will probably be out of work on Thursday and Friday of that week, sitting around my computer waiting for somebody to tell me that Pantheon has released information or has shown something or anything. And guys, I'm just going to be all over it. So I'll make sure that everyone, didn't they confirm the new dungeon? Alexa, I'm not sure. Maybe they did. Maybe I missed that. So if they did, let me know, buddy. Make sure that it was confirmed in a public setting. So I just want to make that clear, and again, make sure that it's it's in a public setting for us. But again, yeah, if they did and I missed that, please let me know. I miss things, guys. I know I sit on the forums all day long. That's all I do. But I do miss things. It happens. But on that note, if anyone has anything about that or additional on the new dungeon, I would love to hear it because, hey, I'm learning just as you all are. But on that note, I will say, almost positively confirmed via Twitter. They might have. They might have. Like I said, I read the post from Convo via Twitter, and I'm not sure if there was anything else that I missed. But anyways, I'll let you dig that up for me, Lex, and then bring it back, and we'll make sure we get everybody information as well. I thought, let me read this real quick because I just want to make sure I don't miss this. I think this is a really cool thing here. So I thought I heard something about seeing that dungeon with all the climbing again. So talking about Amber Fate. I'm not sure I've heard anything about Amber Fate. Now I will say, if Amber Fate is the dungeon we see, we've already seen it. I would suspect that it's going to be something new, based off the fact that we have had information of them basically saying it's a new zone. They're going to be showing off a new zone. So I'm not saying that we won't see Amber Fate again. I'm excited. I'm hopeful that we see more of Amber Fate because that dungeon itself looked amazing. So I'm always open to seeing more of Amber Fate. But I think this might be a new dungeon. I think we might be seeing something new this time. So we'll continue. Like I said, we'll continue to see. We'll keep our eyes and ears out for that one. But on that note, like I said, so these are just a few of the things that we're potentially going to see or hear about coming from PAX East. Other things such as, I think we have, so again, we have Basgrim going to PAX East. He's going to be here Friday. So I'm going to put a request out there for everybody that's listening in, tuned in on Pantheon Radio or listening via Twitch or even find this video tomorrow or tonight on YouTube. If you could, do me a favor, send me some questions you would like me to ask Basgrim. If you have anything that you like, this guy's going to be over at PAX East in the middle of the devs, probably bugging them to death about everything he can. So I would love to send him with some questions from the community that he might be able to kind of sneak in there from time to time and see if he can get some answers for us. So with that, I'm not promising anything, guys. I'm not saying that it's going to be a guarantee. I'm just throwing it out there. If you have a question, a burning question that's just really eating at your soul, that you want to know about Pantheon, send it to me because I would like to read it, review it, see if I can find the answer for you on the forums because there's a lot of great information out there on the FAQ, on the forums. If you dig hard enough, you can find a lot of really, really good information. But sometimes it does take a little digging. So again, if you have a question, send it to me. I'll see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I'll get it over to Baz and I'll say, hey, buddy, slide this across the table whenever you're sitting across from Brad. Or, hey, can you just put this in Joppa's pocket and see if he finds it later and maybe gives you an answer? You know, something like that. So we'll try to find a way to sneak some questions through Baz to the devs or something like that while he's over there. But again, I've got to have the questions to ask. And for me, I'm more of the type that I would love to get all the information in the world, but I'm more of the reserved type. I like to be on the passive side of this. I'm not the aggressive question asker. I'm more of the tell me what you can, and I'll be good with that. So again, yeah, slap it on Metawaki's, and I never can say. I think it's Medaki. I think it's Medaki's. I think that's how you say his name. Anyways, slap it on Meta's backside. But yeah, so send me those questions, guys. I'm excited to see and to hear more about that coming from you all. I would love to get some questions from the community to send over his way. All right, Lex, appreciate that. I'll have to remember that. So moving on, what do we got here? What do we got coming up? I think there was only one thing I wanted to talk about tonight. So after all this news, we've had like 20 minutes of news, announcements, things like that. I wanted to go over a subject that I read on the forums the other day, and I thought this was a really, really good subject. I got excited about it. All the juicy stuff I've gotten out of the way early, guys, because I want everyone that's here to be able to see that. Most people watch these videos on YouTube only watch the first 15 minutes at most. So I'm trying to make sure I get all the really juicy information out early, and then I'm going to get into the more of theory crafting and potentially boring stuff, you know, from Saicred's opinions, of course, later on in the podcast. So for now, I'm going to kind of switch gears, and I'm going to move over to a little bit about my opinions on some things. And what I've seen, I saw this question asked, and I loved it. I thought it was a really, really good question. It brought some things to my mind that I didn't quite think of before. But somebody said, I'm very shy, I'm very passive, and I'm not paraphrasing or quoting this individual. I'm putting this in my own terminology. But basically, the gist of the conversation was, I'm not somebody that's going to go out and be very vocal, active. I'm not going to sit on a stream. I'm not going to create a YouTube channel. I'm not the one that's going to be putting my face and name out there. But I still want to contribute to the community and help it grow. How can I be a member of the community that's contributing without doing the things such as myself are doing, or Basgrim, or the Voice of Turbulence is doing, or Az, or Monster Koala, or Timmy, or how can I do things that help promote Pantheon, yet not be on that front line or in that spotlight like that, just because of my personality and who I am? It wouldn't fit me, and I feel I'd be very uncomfortable with it. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, wow, you know, someone's basically saying they want to be a part of this community. They want to help this community grow, and they really want to see this community continue to develop in a positive light. I mean, guys, this has been one of the most fun, most entertaining, most enjoyable experiences I've ever had in a community, and this is even without a game to play. But I have loved the community and I continue to see me just growing within this community as well, because what we have a solid foundation of mature, experienced MMO players who are looking for something that they haven't had in a long time. They're very hopeful, and there's a lot of wisdom in, you know, the development process. There's a lot of wisdom in the game etiquette, and as far as form etiquette, like there's a lot of maturity that you see overall. And of course, there's always going to be a few here and there that are very passionate, and that passion becomes a little overwhelming at times. That's okay. We get it. I'm just as passionate as the next guy, and I know that I can be on the same boat. I've typed out many essays on the forums and ended up removing most of them just because I felt like after I went back and read what I had typed out, it didn't help the conversation. So I'm just going to say, how can you be a solid community member without being in the spotlight, quote unquote? Well, just tell your friends. Welcome people into the forums. It's not, you know, don't go out there and think that you have to be a YouTube sensation. Don't go out there and think that you have to be somebody that's running Twitch streams twice a week talking about Pantheon. Don't think you have to be somebody that's the most knowledgeable in the lore. Don't think that you have to be an expert in any one shape or fashion when it comes to Pantheon. Just be and as Lex put it here, have a positive attitude. Be a positive role model for those that are coming into the community. Encourage them to be active, to talk about the game, to have meaningful and constructive posts on the forums about what they are hearing or seeing when it comes to the streams, when they're looking into the game and they're reading information. Encourage them to go look up for themselves. I believe I made a post the other day, and I'm hoping that it really helps out, where I highlighted a few things where people can go look up a lot of the information that they're asking for, as they come in, whether it would be Nick's, knowledge base of pretty much every stream and every month that we've had in development up until this point, where he's either had a breakdown of a stream or a breakdown of a month of development, like what all's happened, what all was posted. He's had Twitter comments. I mean, he just gathers all this information, throws it out there, and it's there for everybody to read, but a lot of people don't know it's there. So finding a way to get that to them so they know it's there, finding a way to make sure that people know about the FAQ. If someone has a question, go look at the FAQ, see if you can find the answer for them, and just copy and paste it to them. I mean, it's really, really simple, but that's helpful stuff. That's stuff that helps the people in the community stay active. And it also helps the people that are coming new into the community see that, oh, my question was answered already on the FAQ. Maybe there's some other things out there that are very, very helpful, very good. So let me go dig through that, because there's a lot of great information in the FAQ. I mean, they've really done a great job with that. So again, it's not like you have to be out there doing anything crazy. You just got to be involved, be active, find a niche for yourself within this niche community. Find a little spot on the forums where you can respond to people. Find a Twitter account, follow Pantheon MMO, or at Pantheon MMO, and every time they post something, comment on it, give a feedback, because I know a lot of the times they post something and they're actually asking for feedback. So give feedback, show the others in the community, others on Twitter, that you're responding to it, that you're looking at this game, that it's worth taking a look at, or it's worth giving an answer to, things like that. Let's see here, Matt. What do you got for me, buddy? So one, tell your friends. That's absolutely, tell your friends. Promote the game in your own little social circle. If you don't have a big one, just, hey, as people ask about it, what are you doing lately? How you been? Oh, just slide it in there. Promote the game, best you can. Let's see here. What do you got for number 2, Mass? Just know what drives you in the game and mention. Just know what drives you to the game and mention it. Okay, sorry, the it and threes blended in there together. But absolutely, I will say this. One of the things that I'm asked most about is why I'm so invested, why I look forward to Pantheon, things like that. Just having that in your mind. I mean, you don't have to have a rehearsed answer to it, but try to have a clear answer to it. I know that some people say, I don't know, I like it. And that's acceptable. That's absolutely 100% acceptable. So don't feel like you have to have a whole list of, oh, here's my experience, here's my resume, this is what I see in the game, here's the Pantheon differences, here's what they're going to be doing based off the FAQ responses, here's all the little things they're going to be doing, how they're going to be making this game great, the social aspect, the risk versus reward. You don't have to have all this information. Just tell them, I don't know, I looked into the game, it looked neat, and I watched some streams and I really liked what I saw. Maybe you should check it out. That right there is probably going to get more people to go look at it than what I would say, of a 10-minute spill. Because in a 10-minute spill, people are going to be like, all right, this guy he's way too invested. He seems like overexcited. Yeah, it's probably just too much for me. But then again, if you go and tell somebody, I don't know, I watched the streams and it was a lot of fun. It looked like a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. I guarantee you they're going to go and go, what was that stream again? Oh, Jim Lee. Oh, okay. Let me go check that out real quick. Oh, wow. That does look fun. That's all it takes. It's not hard. It's not rocket science, guys. It's just conversation. So don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Everyone here can be a member of the community in a positive way. Like Lex said earlier, have a positive attitude. That's probably the most important thing. There's going to be information that's passed. There's going to be people that get in there with some very negative vibes in the forums, that is, or in the game, you know, when it releases, things like that. There's going to be a lot of things that are said and done over time. Stay positive. Find a good group of positive individuals that you can put yourself around and continue to promote that positive atmosphere the best you can. That's really some of the biggest and most influential ways you can be a part of this community, or any community in any MMO, and help it grow. It's something it's so easy, but it's overlooked so many times. It's just, you gotta have something positive to say at all times. And if you don't, well, then maybe it's best not to just say anything at all, or it's not, you know, the game, or it's not the community, or it's not whatever event it is for you. You know, sometimes you just not finding, or you're not clicking in that environment. Well, don't try to force it. You know, I hate to say it, but don't try to bring other people down because you're not enjoying or you're not liking what you see. Just leave it as is, and let those individuals enjoy what they enjoy. You know, and that's just, like I said, that's a side note. I have not seen anybody besides just amazing people in the community. And even the people that have very, very passionate opinions. It's funny because if you sit down and you send them an email, or you send them an IM, or you talk to them offline, you know, outside the forums, one-on-one, you kind of talk it through, you'll find out a lot of times they're just as passionate and excited about this game as you are. They just come across in their words differently, and maybe it seems aggressive. Maybe it seems very just, you know, it's either my way or no way. But in the same time, it's just because they're so passionate and excited about the game. And sometimes it comes out in a different way than, you know, you might expect. You know, sometimes the way that you word things may show to somebody else very differently than what you intended. So again, misinterpretation over the forums, over typing, things like that happen all the time. Don't get discouraged by it. Be positive and just try to do your best to stay that way. You know, when you're going through the forums, or when you're going through Twitter posts, or when you're going through Reddit posts, whatever it may or may not be, just to continue to try to help provide information to those who are asking. And I guarantee you will be a very valuable part of this community for a long time if you continue on that road. So with that said, I'll go ahead and cut off that subject and move on to just kind of a general topic. I mean, so guys, I know we have a few in Twitter, or in Twitter, as well as Twitch, and we have a few on Pantheon Radio, of course, as always. So thank you all for joining Pantheon Radio. But I'd like to look to the Twitch feed here and say, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about Pantheon? Has anything been coming up that you've seen or that you're curious about that we on the radio here might be able to help you answer? Because we do have a lot of veterans in the Twitch community here that tune in, and I love it. These guys, they always ask me some questions, and I know Day's going to say, hey, when's the Paladin class going to be released? When can I play it? So Day, I'll go ahead and tell you, buddy, the Paladin class, it's coming soon, and Day's going to be good for another day on that. So but how to sell items, AH versus Bizarre. I will say this, man cake, so thank you for posting that question. That has been a topic on the forums, and it has been beaten to death. I will say my personal opinion, and I believe I can go to the FAQ and I'll look up the actual response to this, but my personal opinion, I love the peer-to-peer. I love human interaction, so I hope to see a lot of that within Pantheon. And as far as I know, there's no such thing as a global auction house, so I'm really excited to hopefully see the peer-to-peer work out. I do believe that there's going to be maybe some local spots for trading and selling and things like that. If not dedicated by the developers. I mean, come on, East Commons, like, we make our own spots in MMOs. We don't need anybody to tell us where to go to buy and sell. We figure it out. But yes, I enjoyed that aspect actually in EverQuest. That was one of the things I enjoyed the most, was in early EverQuest, going to the East Commons tunnel and hanging out with everybody that was just buying and selling. I mean, it was just a massive crowd of individuals out there, and it was crazy at times. It was chaotic, and it was really frustrating sometimes because you couldn't figure out what was for sale or what people were buying, or it was just a masked wall of text. But at the same time, you know, I had good memories in it, and it was a fun time. So we'll definitely, I'll look into some more answers on that. I'll make sure to find out the official response for you, man cakes, and bring it back to you, or at least tweet it out here as soon as we get off here. But there is some official responses. There is a lot of conversation. The forums, there's some great forum posts about that. So definitely check those out. Hit up Pantheon forums. Make sure you look up, I think it's even underneath AH versus Bizarre. It's something like that. So look up that information on the forums. And if you can't find it, let me know. I'll find you the link and post it, because there's like 25 pages of text or comments on that topic alone. So... let's see here. What was this? Day, next time you step on one of your kids' toys, remember this, your child did not place it there. Oh, I guess Day didn't like my Paladin comment. Sorry about that, buddy. Wasn't there talk about regional AHs? Like I said, I'll make sure that I post the link here when I get it, when I have it available for the forum conversation. It was massive. It was one of the biggest ones that we've seen to date on the forums. One of the most talked about, topics. Really good topic, really good read. But again, I read it. It's been a few months now, and I know there was a lot that I read through, so I don't want to misquote or guide you on any information that was provided there. So we'll make sure we get that to everybody, and then we'll hopefully clear some of that up. But really good read there. Let's see here. One more thing. I'd like to see a good mix. Oh, yeah. A good mix of things. Yeah, absolutely. I think from what we've seen and what I understand, what we've seen is the base, the core functionality of an old school MMO coming to life, and that's part of what Pantheon's about, bringing back some of those old school aspects that we've lost over time. That really made the game social, really brought out that risk versus reward factor and things like that. It made the game feel meaningful and feel alive, to me at least. So I see that coming through in the streams, but I also see some new flavors, some new technology, some just new concepts potentially coming to light, or some concepts that are newer than what we saw 20 years ago, but maybe still not quite like fresh, like brand new. At least right now on the streams. But again, we're seeing some of those concepts come to light, or at least talked about, and that's exciting to me. We're bringing back that old school feel with some new modern twist. That's what I'm looking forward to most. That's what I miss the most. So definitely. Has there been any word on how many stages of pre-alpha there's going to be? No, there has not. The only information on pre-alpha that we have seen to date has been announced in the newsletters. And I believe they announced that they had a PA1 and PA2, I believe it was, where they went to Helenor's Cave. And I think that's what they showed on the stream as well. If I'm not mistaken, that was how it was perceived, to me at least. So like I said, I'm ear to the ground as soon as I find information on that type of stuff as well, or we have any information that we can pass. We'll be sure to make sure that everyone's aware of that as soon as possible, because I know everyone, including myself, is really watching out for those that newest information to come out on anything going on with testing and things like that. Always excited to hear what's happening, how it's all coming together, what's the latest and greatest. I know it's out there. Everybody's excited to hear it. So we'll continue to keep our ear to the ground and see what we can find for you on that. When do you want to send our questions to Baz? I want to get them to, I want to get the questions to Baz by Friday. I would love to get him a list, and if I can't get them by Friday, if you need questions, you need some time to come up with some questions, or you want to think about it some more, that's fine. I know that he's going to be leaving for PAX East. I think it starts April 5th, which is a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. They have a community event, a meet and greet at a local tavern on the 5th. So that's really cool. I think there's been a RSVP out there for that. I'm not sure if it's still available or not, but I think anyone that's able to come, you don't have to have a PAX East ticket or anything like that. It's just out there for anybody that's able to come. Really fun time, I'm sure. So I believe he's going to be hanging out there with them, and I would love to have it in his hands before he heads over to PAX East. So if you can't get it by Friday, get it to me when you can, and we'll find a way to get it to Baz. like I said, we're gonna slide it to him and see if he can slide it to them. No promises though. No promises. It'll be a fun stream with him on Friday. And if you have any questions on Friday, that's a great time to bring him as well. Think about them. Bring them to the stream on Friday. Ask then. If you're on Pantheon Radio, send it to me on Twitter, or send Baz himself. I know Bazgrim has got his thing out there. He's doing Twitter as well. You can find Bazgrim everywhere online. He's been one of the smart ones and has, he's not had to worry about changing his name on any of the platforms. He is Bazgrim TV on every platform. So if you go out there, Google Bazgrim, you'll be able to find him on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you want to find him. But make sure you go out there, give him a follow. And then if you have questions and you don't want to submit them to me, but want to submit it to him, I'm sure he wouldn't be opposed to that as well. So, find him on Twitter and send him a tweet or something like that. Or like I said, send me a tweet. Send me a message on Twitch or Discord or wherever you can find me, and I'll make sure to get them in his hands as well. But again, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great time. A lot of information coming about, opening up the Q&A tonight just to kind of, like I said, have a back and forth. I wanted to do something different, have a little bit of a freedom about the stream, about the podcast. I wanted to talk about things just kind of off the cuff and let people really have an opportunity to be a part of this this podcast with me. So, it's one of those things where we're going to continue to evolve the podcast as we go forward. We're going to continue to find ways to promote what all is happening within Pantheon the best of our ability. And we're also going to continue to find ways to spotlight those content creators, to bring about conversations or topics that are very interesting to me as well as others. So if you find a topic on the forums and you're like, hey, I'd love to get your opinion on this, let me know, because I might bring it to the podcast and we can talk about it here. So we'll talk about real quick, since I don't have any other questions coming in just right now. I do want to announce, so just today there was an announcement that Brad's going to be speaking at a non-Pantheon related panel at PAX. Another great thing going on at PAX. So if you haven't already, I know that this is going to be, from what I understand, it's filled full of some very influential developers. But this is a community impact, how players shape games panel. So I'm excited to hopefully hear about this. I don't think it's going to be streamed or anything. I'm not sure if they're going to have like a recap on it, something like that. Again, I'm hoping that somebody goes there with a cell phone or something and just tapes it themselves. I don't know. Maybe we can like pay Ronick or somebody to sneak in there and with a camera and just record what Brad says for us, because I would love to hear what Brad has to comment on this panel. Again, community impact, how players shape games. I personally think that if we can't hear what he says on the panel, I'm gonna put out a statement and say I would love to see Brad make a blog about it on the forums, something like that. Give us some information there. So I'm hoping that we do see something from the PAX panel, but if not, maybe we can get something afterwards, a little recap or something like that. That would be preferred by me. I would love to see that. Love to hear the opinion of the man himself, and just again see where we can find out even more information of how his mind is working towards the development of this game and the community itself. Because I look to him as the leader of this little tribe we got here, little community, and I think so far I've never been more happy about following somebody when it comes to games development as I have Brad. So I'm really excited to continue to hear his thoughts, his feelings, his perspective on a lot of different topics. And that's one that I'm hoping to hear more on as well. So anything else? Let's see here. News and announcements. I'm just going to kind of look around, guys, while we're hanging out here. Again, if you missed the Carnage and Jim Lee streams on Pantheon, make sure you go check those out. They were awesome. That's flat out. That's all I'm going to say about it. It was a great time. Had a blast. So go check those out. The PAX East meet and greet. So just so everybody knows, I did talk about that a little bit, but that's going to be at the Asgard Irish Pub and Restaurant. And again, that's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 p.m. on April 5th. So if you haven't already RSVP'd for that, I believe you can still RSVP for it. If not, maybe you can just show up and hang out. Who knows? But it is in an open restaurant. And anybody that's able to go there, go hang out with the guys. Go have a drink with them. Go eat some food with them or something like that. Just hang out with them. I'm sure it's going to be a great time. So I'm excited to hear the stories that come out of that. I know the first Pantheon we had over at TwitchCon, there's a lot of good stories. People came back and were very excited that they got to sit down and talk to, you know, the guys, the developers, some heart-to-heart conversations, something like that. So sorry, the registration for it is closed. As a heads up, Mass, I appreciate that. Sorry, everyone listening on Pantheon Radio or on Twitch here. I guess it's a little bit too late. However, the restaurant, I'm sure, is still open. I'm not saying that you should show up with like a Pantheon sign or something and just hang out in like the front foyer, but I'm just saying. It might be too soon, but would be interesting to know what they are doing or plan to do to allow players freedom to find their own idea of classes within the dev's vision. A good example of this is how their characters look. Okay. I'll stop there. Appearance, cosmetics. Okay. Lex, I'll read that in a minute. Appearance, cosmetics. I know that we've talked about appearance and cosmetics before, but that's definitely something that's on a lot of people's mind. There's a lot of role players out there. There's a lot of people that just like to have a good cosmetic and look about them. They like a certain look. They want that certain look always. And I believe from what I've seen and heard, the developers get that. So I'll find some more information on that. We'll see if we can, you know, get something out to you to where we've had some sort of an official response. I believe there's an FAQ on it, as well as I know there's a forum that I post on it that had, you know, multiple pages of information as well. So we'll make sure we get that out there for everybody that wants to know more about that. Also, can we expect class epics to be like an EQ? Now, I do believe I have heard epic quest being a thing, and I would assume that with that comes epic items. So if I missed the confirmation on that, I apologize, but I do know that we have heard of epic quests, you know, things like that would coming into light. So I'm really excited to see more information, to hear more information on that. I would assume though that the epic class or the class epics like an EQ, I would assume we won't find out that information or information like that for a little bit. That's just my assumption. You know, is it possible? Absolutely. And I'm not sure if when they were talking about epic quests, if they meant that, but that's a really good question. Maybe a question I can send with Baz. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Baz, we got question number 1 for you, buddy. Yeah. So, we'll continue on with that. Where players are focused into using a single weapon type. Okay, so you're just, okay, yeah. So basically you're asking, are they going to have epic class, I'm sorry, are they going to, or do we expect to see class epics like an EQ where players are forced into using a single weapon type, or do they have plans to allow players to create their own epic weapons? Basically, you're looking to say, instead of having a two-handed axe, I want to have a one-handed sword and a, I don't know, a club. I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. I've never even thought about that, but that's very, very interesting. You know, when I think of somebody like the Ranger, for example, I know we've heard a little bit about the Ranger. They've got they're working on the Ranger class right now. They're working on the Dire Lord class. Those are the two classes they're currently focused on from the newsletter that we have, or at least the information we have so far. And the Ranger sounded to be kind of like a hybrid. I think I've heard Brad mention it a few times. He loved the Ranger because it was kind of a hybrid class. You know, could a Ranger go either melee or ranged? There's a lot of conversation around that, but I will say, I do like that idea. That's really neat. I've never thought of it like that. Interesting. I want epics to be truly epic and not just high class items that are phased out. I absolutely agree with you, Lex, on that one. I will say, just personal opinion, really, really hope to see something you worked so hard for and spent so many hours and were so excited about getting to not just be thrown to the side with higher tier gear that comes out later on in expansions. Would love to see something to be built upon that. Maybe you continue to build upon that potential epic with additional Epic Quest as new content comes out to continue to scale it and things like that. I think there's a lot of conversation that we can go into about that. Maybe that's something we can have for a night of discussion here on the forums, or on the podcast and on Twitch. I think it's just it's a very long conversation that I want to do some homework on, because I know there's been conversations about Epic Quest and things like that, and I want to do some digging to make sure that I get all the information I can that's relevant to that. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I would love to see them be truly epic. I really would. He is obsessed with hybrids. I'm surprised he doesn't make a dual class. Oh, Brad. I'm sorry. I misread that, Vex. Yes. Brad is obsessed with hybrids. Yes, Brad has mentioned very, very often that he does enjoy a hybrid class very much so. So, absolutely. Okay, so I'm just kind of reading through some of this stuff here, guys. I appreciate all the conversation. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. Oh, there we go, Lex. We've heard Brad say he really wants epics in the game if it comes on release or the first expansion yet to be seen. Okay, yeah. And that's what I was thinking as well. I wasn't going to say it because I wasn't 100% sure, but I do believe I remember hearing that as well. Yeah, Lex, I 100% agree that I think I've heard that as well. I don't have confirmation on when that will be, like you said, whether it's on release or the first expansion. The same thing with the Necro and Bard. We don't know if it's, right now it's set for post-release. But I know many people are begging, hey, can we get these on release, because I really like to play it. I have full faith that the team is doing everything they can to get it there. But I know that, there comes a time when you have to put certain things aside so that you can make sure that the game gets out there for the most part, so that everybody can play it and enjoy it. And, maybe that later on down the road, release some of that additional content like housing, potentially like Bard and Necros, potentially like Epic Quests, coming out a little bit later on, things like that. Again, there's a lot that you can do without having a few things in there. And then that just allows you to know that there's additional things coming down the road. That's always exciting to see and hear about, things like that. So absolutely, I think we have a lot of things that are potentially looked at post-release. After we get that first wave of content knocked out, I think there's a lot of additional pieces that will be built upon that. And I'm looking at a very broad horizontal picture for myself when it comes to that additional content. I'm very excited about that. So looks like we are coming up on the last piece here, guys. So appreciate all the information. I really do. All the helpful comments in Twitch. Again, all the additional details that I get from you all. It's amazing how I can sit here on the forums for days just digging through stuff, and I'll start talking about it and somebody goes, oh wait, I saw something else about that, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even see that, because I just happened to overlook it, misread it, misinterpreted it, something like that. So I really appreciate everybody coming here, chiming in, helping out, making this podcast, this stream what it is. You all are the reason that I do this. I mean, I truly enjoy this, and I'm thankful for all you showing up. I really appreciate it. So in closing tonight, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping it up for the last few minutes here. I will say again, guys, we do continue to see new members streaming into the forums, streaming into Pantheon, wanting to know more about it. Find ways to point them into the forums to dig for themselves. Find ways to point them to the FAQ. Find ways to help them find the answers, because as much as I love the Pantheon forums, they're a little bit difficult to navigate at times. So again, going back to that earlier conversation about how you can be a great community member, just help be there when those new people come into Pantheon for the first time and are looking for additional information. Show them to the Pantheon YouTube channel. Show them to make sure they know about the Pantheon Twitter or Reddit or Facebook, so that they get the latest and greatest information that's coming out. Make sure you help them understand about the testing phases and again, we've heard about it even before it started, but those testers had to sign an NDA and things like that. So, as one of the things I put on the forum post I made, it was just etiquette on my part is I try not to ask people what their pledge status is, because I feel it's rude or awkward to put them in an awkward position of, you know, oh, can I say this? Can I not say this? Things like that. And especially with the NDA for those testers of that tier, I try not to ask that question. I just feel like it's a question that puts people in a very awkward state. So I try to be respectful of that and things like that. You know, people don't know that. People haven't been around to see all that information. There is information out there on Reddit. They have it right across the top. You know, Pantheon testers are under NDA. This includes their involvement and, you know, any information on testing. They have it right there, but people don't read all those, you know. And again, it's good on us to help remind people and things like that. So continue to be a great community member, continue to stay positive, continue to just be out there and be active. You know, tell people about Pantheon, share it. There's people out there even today that are looking for new games, looking for MMOs to be excited about going forward. They're looking for, you know, something to do or to invest time into, invest effort into, invest money into, because they're running out of games, they're running out of content, they're running out of things they enjoy. They want to go back to what they missed, you know, 20 years ago, and they want to try that out. Well, you know, for me, Pantheon is that. And for many others that I've come across as well, Pantheon is just that. It's something that's bringing back a part of our gaming experience that we've missed for a very long time. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to share Pantheon. It's really not. I'm not trying to, you know, shove it down people's throat. But I just want to say, letting people know that there's a YouTube video they should check out or something like that. If they ask about it, let them know, guys. There's nothing wrong with it. Let them see if they like it for themselves. If they don't, then so be it. You know, there's no reason to try to force somebody into liking Pantheon. If they don't, they don't. If they do, great. We'd love to have them in the community. And again, that's where you can become a great community member, just helping them find some of that information. So, wrapping it up, appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. PantheonRadio.com. Be sure to check it out. Go listen to some of the epic music out there. These guys that continue to blow me away with what they're doing. Sign up, go to the /compo, check it out, guys. Make sure that you try to submit something, get your hands on one of those echo dots or even the heat changing mug. You know, if you win that, whatever you submit, it's going to be awesome. Those guys do a fantastic job. So whatever you do, just try to make it to where or keep it within the limitations of 100 to 500 words, if you can manage to keep it under 500 words. And then on top of that, again, looking forward to PAX East. I'll end it on this note. This Friday, 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Basgrim on here. Don't forget, I need questions to pass to him so he can pass to the developers, so we can potentially, possibly, maybe, just maybe, get an answer on some of your most deep and desired questions. Until then, hopefully, you all will be able to survive for one day without a Pantheon podcast. And we'll come back Friday. We'll have that podcast with Baz. And I know that he's got some really exciting information to pass over. So I'm excited for you all to be a part of it. I'm excited for, you know, him and what he's getting into. And I can't wait for you all to find out more. So, you know, if you're going to build up a stream, if you're going to build up hype around it, I love talking to Baz. He's very knowledgeable. Maybe we can try to bring some questions to him that stump him as well. So, hey, guys, if you got something on the mind, you know, let's have a Q&A with Baz on that Friday. Let's do it. Let's just go ahead and say it right now. Let's do a Q&A with Baz, and let's come up with some questions that can make him sweat a little bit. And he's the all-knowing Basgrim. Let's see what he knows. But until then, guys, I appreciate everybody showing up, and I will be on here Friday. Thanks again. Y'all have a good night.